Sunrise Extra family, good morning on a Wednesday. We are talking about vaccination rates and opening up. It's California making big news yesterday. They opened up all statewide for Governor Gavin Newsom's June 15th opening date. That means no more capacity limits, no more masks, no more social distancing. Washington, Governor Jay Inslee was in Vancouver yesterday, and he said no matter what, we are going to open June 30th.
Right.
If we hit 70% in the next 2 weeks before that, it could happen before, but even if we don't hit 70%,
the end
we're
is
opening
near.
June 30th.
The end is near regardless.
Yes.
June 30th is exactly 2 weeks from today.
Oregon holding strong. Kate Brown's still saying she has the benchmark that they just picked of 70% vaccination, and then the state can open. So at last check, we were about 70,000 Oregonians still needing to get a shot to hit that mark. So we are asking, should Oregon, the last West Coast holdout, should we just open on a certain date, or do you like the idea of sticking with the vaccination benchmark?
Do we have that poll we can pull up real quick?
That's not herd immunity. Herd immunity would be what, 85%? And
what was the reason behind the 70%? And did have other states have that number too?
Washington went with 70%, but now they're just, opening. But it is kind of just an arbitrary.
What happened to the trifecta on the West Coast? They were going to kind of
thought we
get
were a team,
together,
man.
and everybody was going to kind of agree.
Those were the early days of the pandemic.
Yeah, I see,
the early
I'm sorry.
days of the pandemic.
Yes.
Real quick, Director Brian pulled this up for us. So we asked this question starting at 5 o'clock this morning on the Sunrise TV show. Again, do you think Governor Brown should announce a firm reopening date for Oregon, just like Washington has? And obviously, you can see the majority of our viewers saying yes to this point. You can still weigh in. As long as you're online with us, you can hop over to the KGW Sunrise Twitter page. This poll is pinned to the top of that page, so you can answer yes or no to this question. And obviously, that's the easy answer, yes or no. But if you're chiming in on the stream, we want to know your reasons for saying either yes or no. Clearly, the majority say yes, but I'm wondering about those 28% of our viewers who say no. Why do you not want to have a hard reopening date? What are your concerns?
Susan Decker says yes, set a date. Everyone who wanted and needed the vaccine has gotten it. Time for Darwinism to take over. Yeah. If you don't believe in science, then you may be the weakest link. End quote.
That's the show, right?
Susan Decker? Yeah.
She had her coffee this morning.
Yeah.
And Jerome says we should be open right now. Brian Barton says open.
Yeah, I would guess the majority of the viewers we're going to hear from today are going to say yes, reopen, and clearly the poll we had suggests the majority think that way. Again, though, if you don't feel like we should have a hard reopening date, if you feel like we should continue with restrictions, whether it be masks or social distancing, tell us why you think that.
We just had some numbers the other day of in the past 7 days, the peak of hospitalizations for COVID in Oregon was about 163. So that's good, in terms of how we have been doing.
And the case numbers are going down. I noticed that over the weekend. I was like, wow, it's back in the 100 and something.
And then yesterday, when Governor Jay Inslee was in Vancouver, he talked about not only trying to hit that 70% mark, but he also noted that right now, of all the people in hospitals in the state of Washington, 98% of those people who have COVID and are hospitalized, he said, did not get the vaccine. So they wanted to point out again that, if you are hospitalized at this point, it's likely that you did not get the shot.
Although we are acknowledging in Oregon, at least, that we need to still continue to work very hard to get the vaccine into communities that don't have as easy access to it, right?
Yeah.
So that might be the strike against Darwinism, so to speak. Like we still need to do more outreach.
Yeah.
So
people who are kind of distrustful or don't want to go to those big sites like the convention center and all that, which is closing this Friday, and I think the airport site is wrapping up.
Same. And then Hillsboro's 2 weeks from.
Right.
Is it the 25th? I can't remember.
So the three biggies in the metro area anyways, the Portland metro area, they'll all be closed by the end of the month. And we heard from Dr. Jennifer Vines, Tri-County Health Officer, that even though those big vaccination sites are going away, we are going to still see some smaller pop-up clinics moving forward in the months of July and August.
Renee Robertson lives in Panama. She's one of our regulars. It's always good to hear from you, Renee. She says living outside of the U.S., it is mind-boggling to us how open the U.S. is becoming. Here in in Panama, we have nearly 1,000 new cases per day the past few weeks. And that really speaks to the U.S. and other developed countries getting that vaccine and tens of millions of doses out to countries that don't have it. Because as we saw when it started in Wuhan, we are all connected. You remember the days when we were naive and we thought, oh, yeah, it's way over there in China.
Yes.
But yeah, that's exactly the problem.
It was called January of 2020.
Yeah, thank you.
It's like, oh, hope that never comes over here.
I remember sitting in that newsroom one day in early February saying, it's too late.
Yeah,
It's too late.
I remember when we got the first case broke. It was the last Friday of February last year. Last year was a leap year, so it was February 28th when we had that first confirmed COVID case in Oregon. The first COVID cases in the entire country, of course, were just to the north of us here in Washington.
Willie Huey, this is a good.
I was going to go ahead. No, go ahead.
It is a really good point. Good morning, Willie. He says setting a date is hypocritical. They said follow the science for a year now, and just choosing a date is not following science. If you chose June 30th, what happened to the virus / our health on June 29th? If you're going to choose a date, then make it tomorrow. Just got back from traveling, and it's great not being masked and going to amusement parks. I will tell you that. You're right. It is true. It is just as arbitrary, it seems, as saying 70%.
Right.
You know, that's a majority, but it's not herd immunity, and we're not going to get there as soon as, kids are able.
I think it's called trying to appease everybody in that effort. You know what I mean? It's like people are demanding to reopen, so we're going to reopen. But before we reopen, can we try just a little harder to get more people vaccinated?
Well, maybe. Okay, so I'll throw this out there. Then, I mean, the idea of shutting everything down anyway was to make sure that hospitals didn't get overwhelmed. It wasn't necessarily about like saving your life or your life or your life. It was collectively like we're in a really bad state if our hospitals can't attend to all the car crash victims and the heart attack victims and whatever because they're all filled with COVID patients, right? So if that's not happening, then, and that's what they're seeing, maybe that's, they are allowing themselves the ability to walk back on their logic as they're figuring this out as they go. So I'll give my best political diplomacy there. That's the word I was looking for.
I'll be curious to see what happens in September with schools because I saw a friend of ours posted yesterday on social media. It was a picture of their kid wearing a mask last day of school, and I think she said last day they'll ever have to wear a mask to school. I'm thinking I wouldn't say ever that quickly, right? I mean, we're just 3 months away from the start of next school year, and are they going to?
It'll be interesting if school districts require it,
right. If you don't have it, you have to wear the mask and all that business.
High school, and then you don't have to. Yeah.
Michael Garrison says, I believe that we should not have to wait until all the holdouts, to reach an opening date. My gosh, you guys are like seeing all these comments. But he doesn't think we should have to wait. Open up the state governor and do it now is what he's saying. And then Christie says, yes, all that is wonderful, but we feel we still need to be careful. Here at KGW, those of us who are back in the building, and not all of our people are yet, they're kind of really slow rolling it. We got the choice from our company that if we took a picture of our vaccination card and sent it into HR, that we didn't have to social distance and wear a mask anymore. And boy, was that nice, walking down the hallway and seeing other people unmasked, fully vaccinated.
Right. Mask fatigue?
Wow. Yes.
Especially for wearing full lipstick for your work and then having to put this and it's just all smudged all over.
First world
your mask
problems.
becomes a reflection of you. You take it off.
It was really interesting though. Like we went to the coast this weekend and so we were driving down Highway 26 and you see Hillsborough Stadium. And that's where they've had the vaccine clinic. But this past weekend, and I can't remember if it's still going on now, they were giving away $100 Fred Meyer and Safeway gift cards. And boy, was there a line.
That was popular.
Yeah, and so we did a story on it. And they said this brought in more people than, this thought of this vaccine lottery that's going to happen on the 28th. But yeah, you give people $100 off groceries.
Hey, people are smart. You don't win the lottery. You've all bought a lottery ticket. You're all still here. So people are smart. They know that doesn't work.
So yeah, that is good incentive. And we'll be seeing more of that, as we have these drawings. Washington just had their second kind of big state drawing yesterday.
Yes. It is becoming like it's becoming more normal again, I'd say, to not wear your mask. Obviously, I leave my mask in my car now when I come to work because I don't have to wear it inside, and there's no place inside the building where I'm going to have to put a mask on. So now I'm noticing it again. Like it was, remember last year around May when you went into the grocery store and you had to wear your mask, and it seemed a little odd because you never wore a mask before in your life to any place, and that was really the first place you started wearing masks. Well, now I feel like it's gone full circle where the only place I'm wearing the mask at this point is still the grocery store. I mean, literally in the last 7 days, I've only put a mask on to go to Safeway and then to go to Costco, where I actually think at Costco you don't have to wear a mask. I should put that out there, I guess, without checking first.
So the state rule, the company says you don't have to, but they also have to follow state rules. And Oregon state rules, I mean, that's why we had to send our vaccine cards to work.
Right.
Because if you want to go inside anywhere in Oregon without a mask, you have to show your card.
Got it.
So Costco has to follow those rules.
Thank you. There were people in Costco. The reason I thought that, there were people in Costco who weren't wearing their mask. And my wife was with me. She's like, oh, we don't have to wear a mask. I said, I'm not taking mine off. I'm not taking mine off.
And maybe they're just not enforcing it really, or people are taking it off once they get inside or whatever. I mean, I'm not as worried about it anymore. When we went to Pacific City, inside the Pelican Brewery, you did have to wear a mask until you got to your seat.
Sure.
But at the little store that's right there, and at the campground office, the employees weren't. They were behind plexiglass, but they weren't wearing masks, and they weren't. The sign was taken off, so you didn't have to wear it.
Trish on the stream says this is so frustrating. We will see a surge again with the new variants. So that's what she's worried with. Trish, you're vaccinated? Yes? No? She didn't say.
I was curious. I saw that same comment from Trish, and I was just curious, what does she think we should do then? Continue with all the restrictions that are in place? Does she feel like there's ever a time when we should go away from the restrictions? I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I hear what you're saying about your concerns with the new variants. I'm just curious what you think the move forward should be.
Kristen also says it would be nice if we could wait for the kiddos to have the opportunity to be vaccinated. They're getting there.
Yeah, 12 and older can right now.
We just ran a story this morning that Pfizer and BioNTech are going to continue their trials for kids as young as 5 months through 11 years, and that some of those vaccinations, if everything goes according to plan, could start in September or October.
We've got little ones. You got a almost 4-year-old. We've got a 4-year-old and an 18-month-old, and I don't want them to get sick.
Right.
So I mean, they still get it.
Yeah.
Your wife is in the medical field.
Yes.
So if the vaccination was cleared, if Pfizer's vaccine was cleared tomorrow for kids, because they're doing tests right now, I think from 6 months and up.
5 and up.
Like 5 months?
5 months.
Yeah, 5 months and up. Do you think you guys would be okay with your youngest getting the vaccine tomorrow if it got that FDA approval?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I thought you might say yes, but I was just.
Yeah, your wife is not only in the medical field, she's a doctor.
Yeah, I didn't know how far we wanted to go into that, but yes.
That's no, and we've had these discussions. We talk very early on about how things should go and what we would do, and so no question there.
All right, you can still weigh in. We can flash that poll up one more time, Brian Matthews. The question that got this whole conversation started this morning, because Governor Jay Inslee has come out and said, really, for come hell or high water, June 30th is the day for Washington. Yes, they're still trying to reach that 70% benchmark in Washington in terms of getting adults vaccinated, but he said 2 weeks from today, June 30th, Washington is fully reopening. So we're asking, should Governor Brown also announce a firm reopening date? Because at this point, Oregon says it is still waiting to fully reopen when we get 70% of the adult population vaccinated. The vast majority of you saying, yes, absolutely, Governor Brown should throw down that firm reopening date.
Yeah, it was pretty wild to see, in California, everything is kind of back to normal now, and Disneyland is open. It's still reserved tickets and all that stuff. And I think, businesses can do what they want. They don't have to fully reopen like before, but yeah, it is interesting.
The other interesting
June
thing
14th,
I saw, sorry, go ahead.
Restrictions. June 15th, fine.
Right, I know. I mean, they had to come up with some kind of guidance, some guidelines. When I was in Safeway on Sunday, there was an employee in the produce section. I'm not trying to get anyone in trouble, but I know he's an employee because I see him there all the time. I've been going to that store for a decade, and he wasn't wearing a mask. Everyone in the store that I could see, from employee to customer, there wasn't one person not wearing a mask, unless you weren't in the same aisle as I was. But I didn't see anyone not wearing a mask. But I saw him, he even said hi to me. I say hi to him all the time when I see him. I'm thinking, what the hell are you doing with the mask off? I didn't think he could do that. I feel like he's probably vaccinated. I'm assuming he is. I feel like he's probably safe. I'm not questioning any of that, but I thought, aren't the employees?
Didn't you kind of want to ask?
Yeah, like, how are you getting away with that?
Oh.
Who said that's okay?
I got an unpopular thought, or maybe it's a popular thought. I don't know. Like after all this mass business with coronavirus, look at all the people that didn't get sick with like the flu and all that, you know, have we talked about? Maybe, you know, I might wear a mask in December in Fred Meyer when I'm grocery shopping because I don't want to get sick. From anything.
Awesome.
Right.
My daughter came home from school the other day with a runny nose, and the teacher was like, yeah, a bunch of little kids have, I mean, you know.
We've already had.
It's coming for us.
We've had, yeah, the daycare germs, those of us that have been fortunate enough to have very little ones that had childcare, and my goodness, what a godsend that is, as we know, and those that had older children are probably envious of that or were. You know, the daycare germs are coming back. I mean, Daphne's already had two in fact, last week she had several weeks ago, had 105 fever for 4 days. Yeah, we were like, she's 18 months. Yeah,
that is a scary number when you see that come across.
Yeah, we were very carefully considering what we needed to do at that point. And so, yeah, that stuff's all going to come back. It's not like the, you know, it's...
Well, it's all been going on.
So, you know, people in, you know, other countries, especially like I have been told, I've never been to Japan, but Asian countries especially are very mask...
Germ conscious.
Germ conscious, yes, and so they wear masks during the flu season.
Density there, you know,
at the grocery store.
Right, but they started a long time ago with some of the, you know, for SARS.
Fair enough, yeah.
And so that is, they've learned that the
So anyway, I just offer that up there. Like, man, I might. Just because I don't want to get sick, because I like the fact that I didn't get a single bug.
It's been nice.
Yeah.
If someone said, hey, list the reasons why you still wear a mask inside of a grocery store, beyond the fact that you have to. Besides the fact that it's small,
that.
Like, I would say, and it's always been, to me, like maybe the top reason is out of respect for the employees who I thought, you know, were required to wear a mask. You just want to be respectful of them. Hey, I'm in your place. You're wearing the mask. I'll wear a mask too. So that's why it just stuck out to me that this employee was not wearing a mask. I'm like, hey, I'm kind of doing this for you.
A reason. Yeah, but who knows?
Yeah.
I think that's true. The respect for people who come across just thousands of people in a week, like the grocery store folks. And also, you know, the vaccine is not 100% effective. You know, nothing is. And you do have those rare breakthrough cases.
Yeah.
So I think if I'm out in a big old crowd where I don't know everybody, I'd wear a mask.
Okay. Next big concert that rolls into town, whatever that is. You looking forward to going to a concert again? I mean, I am, but I'm going to have pause for a second.
Right, I know.
Right? So long anyways.
I know, right?
I mean, like well before this.
Ours was Mumford & Sons, 2019, yeah.
I like going to outdoor ones just in the summer because it's fun being outside and listening to music, but like going to like the
Moda Center.
Yeah, like I haven't been to a concert indoors like that in many years.
I've never been a huge fan of crowds in general. You know, like on the rare occasions when we go to the Moda Center for a Blazers game, when you're in the.
I love it for like a sports.
Well, when you're in the seats and you're in the bowl and you're cheering on the team and all that's great, but those moments in time during the course of the night when you're in the concourse, I couldn't think of the stinking name. The concourse, and you're just squeezed in there with all these other people. It's never comfortable.
I know.
Especially when you're in there with little kids, Chris. I don't know if you've done that yet, but when you're trying to keep your, like, you know, got one like in front of you, one behind you. Don't let go of my hand.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, are you ready for a little wisdom from Joshua?
Yeah, I saw that. Please read. Yeah, I was deep into.
Okay, he says, as someone who is fully vaccinated and is an employee in one of the hardest hit industries during this moment, I 100% agree with waiting. Gosh darn it, with waiting
I have it right here for
until we get as close to herd immunity as possible. Here's the thing. History is going to look back very kindly on Oregon and how we handled this moment. We've kept our community members safer than other states in the country, and that is because we've been so adamant about following the science. We can't give up now, and we're so close to the finish line. Just my 2 cents. Have a great day. Appreciate your insight.
That's a lot of thought in that post, Joshua.
He always
Thank you.
has thoughtful comments.
I'm noticing a lot of new, at least especially right now on YouTube, a lot of new peeps, and some people now, you know, maybe you're getting back on a more normal schedule and you're just discovering this little after show that we have. So just a quick refresher on what this is. This is not a newscast. We're just talking off the cuff. This is a chance for us to kind of live interact with you guys. That's why we're looking at our phones. That's how we can see your Facebook comments coming in live. I've got YouTube pulled up on this little tablet right here. So some people are like, why are we spending so much time talking about COVID? Let's move on. We pick a topic every day for Sunrise Extra. It's about 20-ish minutes long. It's however you guys want to kind of frame the conversation. Sometimes we do the polls, we share comments, we share ridiculous, stupid stories about ourselves. Sometimes it's newsy, sometimes it's totally silly.
Sometimes it's very personal.
I guess it's just kind of a chance to interact.
Aaron Williams says, what do you think about requiring vaccine cards to enter stores without a mask? Like they do it at Costco. I got a flash.
But we're the only state in the country that's doing that. I think when I heard the day she said that you're going to have to show your vaccine card, I'm like, why? Why would you do this?
It works at
Show a
Costco.
card to get into Costco and buy more.
I know, but
works at those places 'cause they already have
it's
those
already
employees in
supercharged
Exactly,
like
totally.
this.
I don't think Safeway should have to, set aside an employee just to check cards.
I'm just saying I would show it.
Just
if
make
they
it
did.
one way
If that
or the
was
other.
their
Yeah,
decision,
nobody-
Masks
got it.
or no masks.
Yeah.
Don't put that on a business. I thought that was bad that she did that.
Karen Lewis says there should be 100% a hard open date. Should have been months ago.
The date should have been months ago, or the announcement should have been months ago.
It should have
Always
been
a
the
question.
open date.
Okay. Always a question for your questions. I did think it was funny earlier, Chris. We mentioned already this morning that your wife is a doctor, and then you talked about how your daughter had that very high fever, 105, a couple of weeks ago, and you said, I think what you said was, we were, discussing what we should do. And I thought to myself, are you really part of that discussion? Your wife's a doctor. I'd be like, honey, what are we doing? I don't even be involved.
Well, I was more like, it was more like talking about logistics and all the other things that we need to do and what we need to cancel this and do that and who's going to do what. It wasn't, there wasn't really, it was, we were also like, okay, how long do we wait before we go? And we were both, she's not a pediatrician.
Right. Okay.
There is a difference.
Yeah.
There's a vast difference between childhood medicine and adult medicine.
Yeah.
So,
But nonetheless, I'd be leaning heavily.
so we just call her best friend, who is also a pediatrician.
There you go. You know people.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much. Have you found any last one?
Oh, no, I was just like,
okay.
looking to
Closing
see if
remark?
anything-
Yes.
Come on. Now that you've asked for it, I feel like we have to find it.
Don't say that one.
Okay. We don't know which one I'm looking at.
Yeah. All right, you guys.
Here it is. To your point about California being completely reopened.
Okay.
52,000 people, John is noting. 52,000 people were in Dodger Stadium last night for a baseball game.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's
Let's see a
definitely
picture of
back to
that.
normal.
Yeah.
52,000 people. And I knew about that attendance because the Dodgers were playing the Phillies last night.
The
And the
Dodgers.
Phillies lost to the Dodgers last night. But that's not the point of the story. 52,000 people were at that
Philly
game.
boy.
All right, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. Who knows what we'll talk about?